Hey everyone, Cash here, bringing you another video from Madden 25. Today I'm bringing you the off-season in our connected franchise. We've made it through Season 1. It's time for the off-season. We're going to go through re-signing players, free agency, and finish it off with the draft. First things first, I'm going to show you the season stats for this past season. We do end up with one QB over 1,000 yards, but do not look at any more of these stats. Horrible season from the quarterbacks. That is going to be our #1 priority in the draft or free agency. We'll see what kind of QBs are available. That completion percentage, so bad. Tebow leading the way with 51%. Justin Forsett ends up with a pretty good season after he became the starter midway through. Ace Sanders with a great year for the rookie as he leads the team in receptions and receiving yards. Only 1 TD. Great year out of him though. See the defensive stats. Paul Puzzlesny with a great season. I'm going to go through some of these other defensive stats. Tyson Alua with a great year. So he leads the team in tackles for loss and sacks. And then we had the great seasons from the two rookie corners, Demetrius McCray and Dwayne Gratz, as they lead the team in interceptions. The next up here, I'm going to be showing you the results from the playoffs and a very interesting Super Bowl winner you're going to see here as we are going to go through, or actually, you're going to see the kickers, punters, kick returns, punt returns. Denard Robinson, a great year out of him. But now to the playoff results. Wild card, New England beats the Texans, 49ers over the Redskins, Denver over Baltimore, and Carolina over Green Bay. The divisional, the Broncos beat the Colts, the Seahawks kill the Niners, New England beats Kansas City, and Carolina over the Falcons. Conference, the Broncos beat New England, the Panthers beat Seattle, so in the Super Bowl, the Carolina Panthers win the Super Bowl 34-31. Cam Newton leading his team to a Super Bowl. And then the end of the season here, you see Peyton Manning retires, Tony Gonzalez retires, Ed Reed is going to retire. Very interesting to see. Peyton Manning, a little surprised to see. Thought maybe they would have him play one more year, but he is pretty old. How Madden normally works. The Vikings get a new coach. The Redskins get a new coach. James Harrison retires. There was quite a bit of people that retired. Those were the big ones though. So now on to re-signing players. You take a look here at the players we have to re-sign. Wide receivers, I'm only going to re-sign Tobias Palmer. He's pretty speedy, young guy. The other two easily replaceable. Cameron Bradfield, 81 overall. I'm going to move him to the right side. He's a solid guy, pretty cheap. Brad Meester, another cheap guy. I'm just going to re-sign him. Marvin Austin, he had a pretty good year after signing him at the beginning of the season. He wants $2 million a year for 4 years. That's pretty cheap. He's over 80. I'm going to re-sign him. Ryan Davis, very cheap. Re-sign there. Going to get some depth there. That's all the guys I'm going to re-sign. Not re-signing any of the QBs. We still have one. No more Hennier or Tebow. Tyson Alua wanted way too much money. I'm not going to re-sign him. So we're going to move on now to the free agents. After taking a look at the team and who we re-signed, I know where I want to focus. QB, you're going to see not a lot of QBs. Halfback, I want to go for halfback. I see one that I like, Darren McFadden, very speedy guy. I think he will work great in our offense. Not too expensive either. We're going to go after him. Need a left guard. We got Zane Beadles and Charlie Johnson. Charlie Johnson, pretty much the same overall, a little bit older, but much cheaper than Zane Beadles. So we are going to go after him. See if we can pick him up. Also fairly cheap compared to Beadles. And then after that, we need to look at line, the entire defensive line. Left end, I'm not really seeing anyone I like as far as starter-wise. We may need to look to the draft for that. Defensive tackle is an area of need. Outside linebacker, we're going to go after Keith Rivers here for a backup. Just add some depth to the linebackers. I don't think I have any backup linebackers. Did not re-sign any of my backups, so we need to go after them. We need a nickel corner. Going through this long list, a lot of good guys available, but I see someone here that catches my eye. Tracy Porter fits the exact scheme that we want for our defense. Very cheap, so we're going to grab him. Free safety, we have Dwight Lowry, not the best. I see some pretty good free safeties here, especially Charles Woodson down there, pretty interesting. We might go back and revisit him in a second here, but I mentioned defensive tackle. We have a lot of money to spend. We need a solid D tackle. So kind of just trying to decide between Melton or Ballard. Ballard, not much worse than Melton, a lot cheaper, so we're going to grab him. We do sign him and Charlie Johnson, the left guard. Everyone else is still pending. So going through the first round, now we're going to go after some more guys. We need a backup tight end. Andrew Corliss, he's pretty cheap here at 1 year and $1 million. Also note, did have to overspend on everyone. Some of the tests I did before the season, I would find that I would lose out on guys right at the end, so I wanted to make sure I got these guys, so I did overpay a little bit. Have a lot of cap room, so no big issue with that, as we pick up Corey Wooten to add some depth at left end. And then I do decide to go back and grab Woodson. Only 1 year, 1.7 million. Could not pass him up. He will be our starter for 1 season there at safety. See if we can pick some up in the draft. You see here someone doing some scouting. I did scout throughout the season, so I've already scouted quite a bit of people. Right here I'm just going through and just kind of scouting some late round linemen. Great time to pick up some linemen. We're going to see if we can get some diamonds in the rough here. That guy looked pretty good. You always scout those top guys, and then you get to the end of the draft and you have no idea who to get. You didn't scout anyone. This is a great time to pick up linemen, so we're just going to look at a couple here. I will revisit in a little bit after I get a few more points. I want to take a look at Johnny Manziel a little more. I have been going back and forth between Johnny Manziel and Teddy Bridgewater. Kind of leaning towards Manziel. I want to look at and see what his overall is going to be, so we're going to do that in a little bit. Going through here, you can see some of the other positions, who is available, some big names that you'll see. There's some interesting rankings that they give to some of these guys as far as pre-draft based on what their ratings come from NCAA. I'm not sure how exactly they work that. I think look at some corners. As Bradley Roby, A's across the board there for coverage. That is a guy we definitely got to look for even after signing a corner in free agency. Chris Davis also pretty solid. Might have to take a look at a corner in the draft. We'll see how it plays out. We do have 2 first-round picks. We have the 5th and the 6th round currently, but I don't know. Manziel is currently the #1 ranked player. The Raiders have the first pick. I believe they signed a QB in free agency, so I don't think they need one anymore. As you see, we've now picked up Tracy Porter and Andrew Corliss. Looking at the halfbacks, McFadden not a for sure thing here, so I'm going to look at another halfback just in case we miss out on him, but also just adding some more depth here. I do see someone that catches my eye that I think is going to be a solid change of pace kind of guy. He is going to be Joik Bell, the guy from the Lions. Very cheap here. He's a 76 overall, a bruising back, maybe kind of like a goal line kind of guy. Even Forsett, not necessarily a goal line guy. For Joik Bell fits that perfectly though, so we're going to go after him. And you see some of the guys have been signed. Jeremy Maclin going to the Raiders for 5 years. Darius Hayward Bay, going to the Bills. Richard Seymour to the Broncos. Quentin Michael, lots of 1-year deals I noticed. As we do end up with Charles Woodson, so we got him. Darren McFadden coming to Jacksonville, so we do end up with Darren McFadden. D'Angelo Hall to the Bills and Joik Bell. So we end up with both of those guys. So we have a lot of halfback depth there. I don't know, maybe we can trade for set, see if anybody needs a halfback. We're going to go into the scouting here now. Going to look at Manziel. Done a lot of scouting on him in Bridgewater. Got enough points to take a look. And you can see some of the other guys. Jadeveon Clowney, D'Anthony Thomas there. Lots of QBs rated in the first round here. Johnny Manziel on 85. I think that is going to be enough to push me over the edge. I think Johnny Manziel is the guy to go after. We're going to see here everyone else that we ended up getting. I don't think we lost anyone else. So everyone you saw, we end up signing. Joik Bell, Tracy Porter, Keith Rivers. Yep, those are all of our signings. So now it's time for the draft. I'm not sure if Manziel is going to last until the 5th pick, especially with him being the #1 overall. So we are going to go and try and trade for the Raiders pick. They did sign Jason Campbell. So we are going to try and give them our 6th pick. I'm going to try and hold on to that 5th. We're going to offer them Justin Forsett, as we now have 3 halfbacks. They do have a #1 need of halfback, so they should want a halfback. Forsett, a pretty solid option here. And I made a mistake here. There's no way they were going to take their 1st and 2nd for a 1st and Forsett. I think I meant to put a 3rd, as we do try a 3rd rounder here. That's a little better, I would say. See if they accept this. So we're going to go through a couple times. I don't think they accept this one. This is not going to be enough. So we'll try one more time. I'm going to add, we have 4 5th rounders, so we're going to add one of those 5th rounders. See if that pushes us over the edge. And it... apparently we had to think about that, and it does. Trade offer accepted, so we have the #1 pick now. Only took a first rounder and Justin Forsett. So you can take a look here at what picks we have. We now have 2 third-rounders. Maybe we can use one of those to trade back up to the second. Maybe pick up another first-rounder. We'll see how the draft goes. We got 3 fifth-rounders, and a 6th and a 7th. So now time for the draft. I'll be showing you every pick in the first 3 rounds, and I'll just show you highlights of some of the great picks I see from the other teams. So to start this thing off, there is no delay needed. We know who we are going to take. Johnny Manziel is going to be our QB of the future. He's going to be the one that leads this team out of the dumps as we move to London this year. He's going to be the new face of the franchise. Solid prospect, great arm, great accuracy. He's got the speed as well. So I think he's going to do great things. So now we'll start going through the first round here. St. Louis Rams take A.J. McCarron, and this is going to be the start of a big run on QBs. D'Anthony Thomas going to the Browns. They get their replacement for Trent Richardson. Kane Coulter going to the Dolphins. Another QB. That's 3 QBs in the first 4 picks. So here we go at number 5. We have a lot of holes. We got Jake Matthews, Charles Leno, 2 solid tackles there. We already have Luke Jokel. So we don't really need another lineman as good as those guys probably are. We got Mason Walters. We need some help at guard. Marquise Lee. But I see someone there, Jadeveon Clowney. We need some help on the line. We could not find anyone in free agency, so we cannot pass up Jadeveon Clowney here. So we're going to take him at number 5. Number 6, the Raiders, Teddy Bridgewater, another QB off the board. Cardinals go Marquise Lee at 7. The Giants are going to go with Austin Seferian Jenkins at 8. Pretty high for a tight end. Mason Walters, there goes that right guard to the Bengals. Sammy Watkins goes number 10. Clinton Dix to the Bears at 11. That defense gets even better. Shieldhouse, another QB. Another QB, Braxton Miller. They just drafted E.J. Manuel. And then you see Jack Newhart there, the tackle. Those 2 guys that were sitting on top are still available. Jake Matthews, one of them goes there. And you saw the Cowboys taking Blake Bell, another QB. A very interesting pick by the Chargers. Bit of a reach, probably. Kyle Fuller, cornerback, going to the Lions. Mike Davis, I think they lost Emmanuel Sanders to the Steelers, so they get a replacement there at wide receiver. C.J. Mosley, the first linebacker off the board to the Saints. Got some more safeties going here. Trevor Riley, Louis Nix went to the Texans there. So now I noticed here one of those tackles is still on the board. Jake Matthews went to someone I'm totally blanking on right now, but Charles Leno is still available, so we are going to try and jump back into the first round. We're going to use one of those 3rd round picks, and we're going to offer a 2nd next season. Let's see if this is enough to jump back into the first round, and it is. So we now have the 24th pick. Let's go and see who is available. I believe one of those guys is still up there, and yes, he is. Charles Leno, 5th pre-ranked draft position, still out there. What is wrong with him? I didn't scout him. We see some cornerbacks, some of the other guys available here, but at 5 overall, cannot really pass him up. So we're going to jump back in, draft Charles Leno, the left tackle. We'll move him to the right side. And very weird, Zach Hawker, kicker from Arkansas, gets drafted in the first round by the 49ers. He must have a really high overall. I thought Madden kind of fixed that. Might be weird with the importing, as the Browns jump back into the first round to grab Taj Boyd as another QB goes. I believe that's 8 quarterbacks that went in the first round here. As we start the second round now, the Raiders with the first pick in the second round, as they are going to take Darqueze Dennard with the first pick. Great corner from Michigan State. Got a left guard going. Browns picking again, and they take another QB, Casey Patchell. So they have 2 QBs taken in, I think, the span of 6 picks. We had a little Redskins thing going, not as bad as RG3, Kirk Cousins, but that does not make much sense. So here we sit in the second round. So we're going to take a look here. We have a lot of needs. I'm not sure who to go with. As we see Bradley Roby there, we scouted him, and he was really good. First round grade. He is still available. I don't think we can pass him up. We're going to take Bradley Roby in the second round, as we have 4 first round grade guys here in the first 2 rounds that we've taken. Looks to be a great draft so far for us. As we go through this second round, you see some of the other guys coming off the board. Dante Moncrief to the Ravens. Chris Davis ends up going to the Titans. Calvin Oy to the Bills. Another QB, Keith Wenning, to the Chargers. I think all in this draft, or at least in the first 3 rounds, I think there's 11 QBs taken as the Eagles take Taylor Martinez. 11 or 12 QBs in the first 3 rounds, 8 in the first round. But there was a lot of QBs graded very high in the overall pre-draft rankings, so kind of makes sense, but it's very weird that there's so many up there. We'll have to see how they are all rated. Chris Borland going Jackson Jeffcoat to the Ravens, that line getting even better. As we roll in on the end of the second round, Bishop Sankey, a Washington running back, goes to the Falcons. Colts taking Preston Brown, another QB, Aaron Murray to the Texans. Corey Nelson to the Broncos, and then the Panthers going to take another halfback here. So now here we have the Raiders' 3rd rounder. All right, and here we go with our 3rd round pick here that we got from the Raiders. Let's see who is available. At this point, we have covered a lot of needs. We have done a lot of work in the first 2 rounds. So looking around here, linebacker, we need some help. Taj Jones sitting there with a 3rd round grade. Don't really want to reach for anyone else. Middle linebacker, nobody left. Could go with the line here. As you see, David Yankee, we did scout him. He looked pretty good, but 4th round grade, don't really want to reach. Not really sure. I don't want to take any risks at this point. We've had a great draft so far. I want to keep the ball rolling here. Will Jackson with a 3rd round grade, but did not scout him at all. So I think I kind of keep coming back to the linebacker. Taj Jones did scout him a little bit. Looks to be pretty good, I think. Maybe a little bit of a reach here with the 3rd round 22nd pick, as we're sitting with the 1st pick in the 3rd round, but we end up taking Taj Jones. See how he turns out. We'll go through the rest of the 3rd round now. Got a couple cornerbacks off the board. Another left tackle here, Marquise Flowers, as the linebackers start coming. Maybe good timing on that, as who knows who we could have gotten later in the 4th round. Silas Redd, the halfback from USC, going to the Giants. Kadeem Carey in the 3rd round to the Bengals. So you're going to start to see some other big names coming off the board here as we work our way through. As there goes David Yankee. So maybe it wasn't too much of a reach to take him. Maybe we missed someone there. I don't know. We'll see later. Checking out the overalls, how they end up looking. Center off the board, Logan Thomas to the Lions, as we have another QB going. Taylor Lewan does not go until the 3rd round. He had a 2nd round grade. Great value there from the Browns. Looks like the Browns are having a pretty good draft, aside from taking 2 QBs in the end of the 1st, beginning of the 2nd round. I was rolling in on the end of the 3rd round. I will be showing you my 4th round pick, and then that will be it. I'll show you after the draft who else I got as the end. It's Connor Shaw. It's going to be the last QB you see. 2 rounds, didn't really see anything special, anyone taken of note late, and I just did a lot of depth filling with the line and things like that. So with our last pick, I wanted to go with a wide receiver, and I'm going to go with Jared Abbrederis here. Did scout him, solid prospect. So we take him in the 4th. So end of the draft now. We're going to take a look at who we got. Menzel, 85. Already know that. Clowney, an 81. Leno, already seeing an 87. So we false us in the 1st round. Lucky for that. Taj Jones is 75. Roby was an 83. Abbrederis is 74. Zach Curran, we take in the 5th. Ifo Ekbre Olomu, Oregon cornerback. Fofanoti, 80 overall. So we strike gold with him, and then we finish it out with Tanikos Allen and Odell Beckham. Now that'll give you a look at who the other people in our division grabbed, and a couple of the teams I thought had good drafts, the Lions with a good draft. See the Texans, Louis Nix, only a 64 overall, so they kind of bust with him. The Titans, 2 good picks, Shieldhouse and 81, Davis is 79. Pretty iffy on the rest of them. Browns, I'm going to say they win this draft. Every pick they have except for one is over a 70. They get Thomas in the 1st round of 77. They have an 83 right guard. The 2 QBs are 78s. They pick EJ Gaines, who's a 78. Lewan in the 3rd round was an 80. And they pick up another left tackle in the 5th. That's a 78. Very good draft from them. They're a little unusual since it's the Browns, but they should be a much better team next season. And then the Colts here, they don't have a very good draft. And then the last thing I'm going to show you, the 49ers, that kicker. He is an 85. Still weird that they take a kicker, though. No kicker is ever worth a 1st round pick. So that's the end of the draft. We are now in preseason, and we are now the London Black Knights. as we start anew, moving the team out of Jacksonville to London. So we've reached the preseason. The next video, I'm going to give you a recap of the entire preseason. I'm not sure if we're going to have to make some cuts. I'm going to go back through. We need to add a couple more players depth-wise. I'll show you all of those changes then. But that's going to be it for this one. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and give it a like. I would really appreciate it, and subscribe to see any future videos that I make. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.